2025, the planar wars return, this time round in a new form. Recent planar IEMs are no longer purely planar driver based. Instead, we are seeing an increasing number of hybrid designs and even dual planar setups. The market has shifted beyond the traditional single planar offerings, introducing new innovations. Now let's take a look at the top planar IEMs leading this new era. And so because of that, we will be discussing 5 of the most popular new planar IEMs. To highlight their differences, I have created a comparison table right here. You can pause the screen to see it in greater detail. Now, the IEMs in contention are firstly the 7Hz Timeless 2, Simgot's ET142, Tangzu's Zetian Legend, Letshuoer's S12 2024, and lastly, the Kiwiears Aether. As you can see, they are all pretty evenly matched in terms of numbers, but numbers never really completely tell you the full story. Let me quickly cover some of their properties. Starting things off with the Simgot ET142. Now, the ET142 features a very solid alloy chassis with CNC processing. Building upon the EA500's design, but slightly larger to house a 12.5mm planar driver and a piezoelectric tweeter. I really love the mirror finish. It is truly stunning, but it also attracts quite a few fingerprints. Simgot's LC7 cable is actually really premium and it's actually included in the package. It has a friction-based plug system which will kind of loosen over time, which is its downside. Sound-wise, the ET142 features a V-shaped signature with an elevated upper mid-range. They actually included 4 different nozzles, and it can really change the tuning, starting off with the titanium blue one, which emphasizes upper mid-range, a gold one that is actually very similar to the titanium blue, while a shorter black and red nozzle actually reduces the upper mid-range for a smoother experience. They are both quite similar also. Bass is clean with strong sub-bass and very fast response, so it lacks a bit of the explosiveness of a dynamic driver. The mid-range is actually pretty crystalline with very airy vocals that is enhanced by the piezoelectric tweeter, making instruments and vocals truly shine. Treble is smooth, well-controlled and detailed, avoiding harshness often found in planar IEMs. Soundstage is pretty expansive with great depth and positioning. Overall, the Simgot ET142 refines the hybrid planar concept, offering high resolution, smooth treble and engaging vocals, a really impressive option for those seeking an airy, detailed sound. Next up, we have the Tangzu Zetian Legend. The Zetian Legend features a striking chassis with a mud of pearl design beneath a perforated faceplate, giving it a rather unique aesthetic. The anodization on the chassis is slightly rougher than the usual, and at the side of the IEM, you actually have 2 air vents. Inside, it upgrades the original Zetian with dual planar drivers, a 14.2mm for bass and a 6mm for treble. While this setup reduces distortion, it significantly affects coherence. The included flash acoustics cable is really high quality with a very nice soft purple sleeve, and it comes with a 4.4mm termination. Tangzu also provides their sun-tight ear tips, all 3 of them, the wide bore, the regular and the narrow bore. Although there are better options out there in the market, I would change these ear tips immediately if I were to get this. Sonically, the Legend has a V-shaped signature with elevated upper mids. Bass follows the typical planar style, linear and clean, but lacking natural depth and explosiveness of dynamic drivers. The smaller planar driver enhances treble, making it airier than the original Zetian. Soundstage is expansive, akin to a small concert hall with pinpoint positioning. You must also note that this IEM is actually pretty power hungry. While it works with a dongle, it truly shines with a powerful source like the Letshuoer GT2 that I very often use. So what is most special about the Zetian Legend is actually I like how its rendering of mid-range is very clear, crisp and sweet, which actually sets it apart from others in the planar wars. Next up, we have the 7Hz Timeless 2. Now, the Timeless 2 features an anodized aluminum chassis with a stunning 3D pyramid textured faceplate that catches light very beautifully. So before it came out, some people were saying that this 3D design thing looked like some sort of sticker. I can assure you that this is intricately machined. The back anodized aluminum body is similar to that of the original Timeless, but with a more refined aesthetic. It features interchangeable cables with a 2-pin termination, and the included cable is actually pretty sturdy and has interchangeable plugs as well. Comfort remains the same as the original Timeless. And so here's the coolest bit about the Timeless 2. Now, this IEM actually comes with 4 different nozzle options. So firstly, the more standard looking nozzles, they come in both gold and silver. They have a more traditional sound. The silver one is actually a bit warmer. It cuts down a bit of the upper mids and highs. gives you a more fuller sound. And here is the more interesting bit, they also come with the gold and silver bullet-like nozzles. Now these actually gives you a very different presentation, it sounds more diffuse and it's actually very spacious sounding. So you get a very varied signature type with these 4 nozzles. While I talk about sound, it will be based on the gold nozzle. So sonically, the Timeless 2 has a control upper mid-range, addressing to previous planar IEM criticism where it's been metallic. Now it has a U-shaped signature and delivers a rather realistic sense of space. Bass is very fast, tight, and it really emphasizes sub-bass with excellent resolution, but again lacks the explosiveness of dynamic drivers. This is an inherent planar design, all of them are kind of like that. The mid-range is spacious and natural with clear balanced vocals. Treble is actually very smooth, energetic, and contributing to a very airy and expansive soundstage. And it's also very strong in depth and positioning, probably one of the stronger ones in this collection. The Timeless 2 actually excels in creating a very immersive listening experience, especially when you power them properly. Also, if you swap the nozzle to the silver nozzle, one interesting thing is that the Timeless 2 does a very respectable impression of the Letshuoer S12 2024. Sure, it isn't as warm, but it also isn't that far off. Talking about the Letshuoer S12 2024, now the S12 2024 features a sleek titanium build finished in rose gold and black, offering a more premium feel than its predecessors. The 14.8mm planar driver is actually very refined, again reducing a lot of the metallic timbre that previous planar IEMs actually have. Cable-wise, it has basically 392 strands of silver-plated monocrystalline copper, and it's actually rather easy to handle and features an interchangeable plug system as well, with options of 3.5, 4.4, 2.5 balance, if that is still even a thing. The SL 2024 has a balanced V-shaped signature offering cohesiveness and tonal consistency, a common strength of single driver IEMs. Compared to the S12 Pro, the treble here has been significantly tamed, and so it's actually a lot smoother and more relaxing. Also, one point to note is that the SL 2024 is probably the sweeter sounding among the lot, with a mid-range that's a bit sweeter and warmer sounding. Bass is actually linear with again a focus on sub-bass, and this creates a rather pristine mid-range with no bleed. It has the usual planar quirks, sub-bass focus that transitions into mid-bass that isn't as prominent. The mid-bass is a bit more restrained, allowing for space for vocals and instruments to truly shine. Vocals are clear, full, and very well separated from bass. Triple extension is smooth and airy with no planar glare or any sibilance. It is a bit warmer sounding compared to other planar IEMs in this discussion. The soundstage is quite spacious, or because it's a bit warm, it's not as expansive as others that I mentioned previously, but all in all, it has very good resolution and transients is fast. And lastly, we have the Kiwiears Aether. Now, the Kiwiears Aether features a lightweight build with a visually appealing faceplate that showcases the monochromatic striped and subtle glitter accents. While the chassis is actually quite sturdy, it's also a bit light, so please do not throw it against the wall, sit on it, step on it, that kind of thing. I don't think it'll survive that. Inside the chassis, there is a 15.3mm planar driver. While the larger driver actually provides a lot of potential, it actually comes with a bit slower transients compared to the others mentioned, such as the 7Hz Timeless 2, Simgot ET142 and whatnot. The cable is really functionable but really unremarkable, and it's terminated to a 3.5mm plug. This is the cable that's commonly seen in most Kiwiears products. It's very similar. Now, the Aether adopts a V-shaped sound signature, emphasizing sub-bass and slightly boosting mids for vocal presence. And as mentioned with all the other planar IEM offerings, they have done away with the metallic timbre of the upper mids treble. It's gone. Now it's actually pretty smooth sounding. Bass on the whole, it's very smooth. Again, it is sub-bass focused and transitions smoothly into the mid-bass without bloat. Transients isn't as fast as some of the other competitors, but still responsive enough that it actually keeps up with them. It's just not as good as them, but still good. The mid-range presents vocals with clarity and sweetness, only probably second to the S12 2024. It's still really good though. And the instrument separation is good, although the Aether actually also needs quite a bit of power to really give you its best. Treble is airy with good extension, and it's also has really good resolution and really blends well with the rest of the frequency range. The soundstage is solid in terms of width and height, offering a jazz hall-like experience, while depth and positioning is also good with clean spatial placement. As you can see, they are all actually really closely matched, and which you like is really up to your preference. So here's the question: which of these have the highest resolution? I think that this is one that people would like to know. Honestly, I think amongst all the contestants here in this edition of the Planar Wars, Simgot has come out on top when it comes to resolution. It just simply outclasses everyone else when you're looking for micro details. It's so easy to listen for various instruments in the mix, those little ones in the corner. You can actually pinpoint listen to them as such. And probably in second place would be the Timeless 2. It does come close, but it just doesn't have the fine details like the ET142. Also, the ET142 signature actually does help it out a bit. The elevated upper mids give you a better perception of resolution anyway. So with better resolution and better perception of resolution, the ET142 wins. Now for versatility, the Timeless 2 is a chameleon. It does feature 4 different nozzles and they do sound significantly different from one another. It has its own signature with the standard gold nozzle, but when you actually change it to the silver standard nozzle, it does actually do a very realistic impression of the Letshuoer S12 2024, where it simply just becomes warmer sounding and sweeter sounding. Also, the bullet-shaped nozzles have quite an interesting effect where it basically allows for soundstage to widen quite a bit, and it's a very different experience compared to normal IEM nozzles. In the next category, the best for vocals. So in this category, I think that basically it's a tie between the S12 2024 and Tangzu Zetian Legend. Both of them are actually really fantastic in rendering vocals, as they render them in a warmer manner compared to others, and they highlight the beauty in vocal renderings. Both these IEMs sound pretty sweet and should be considered if your goal is to listen to vocals mainly. It just renders them so sweetly, so cleanly. Yeah, if you really like to zero in on vocals, these two are the ones to consider. And lastly, the best value category. While not as good as the rest mentioned here, the Kiwiears Aether offers the best value as it does come close to other offerings. Transients is a bit slower compared to the competition, but this isn't a deal breaker. It's still fast enough. It's not like the days we have ultra bleedy sounding IEMs. No, this is actually very solid in its own right. It is the cheapest of the lot at $169, but that's even before it going on discount. So yeah, it's actually very solid. And finally, in conclusion, planar IEMs are very competitive amongst one another, but the way to decide which to get, it really boils down to what do you want. If you want resolution, it's very simple, just get the ET142. If you want versatility, then the Timeless 2 is the one to get. It has really good resolution, that's probably second to the ET142, but on the whole, it's very versatile sounding. You make it sweet, warm, whatever. If you want the best for vocals, then the S12 2024 or Zetian Legend. Both of these have very, very nice, sweet vocals on the get-go, so yeah. Or if you lastly want a very good performer, but on a budget, get the Aether. There is really no right or wrong answer when it comes to planars. They are all actually good, albeit in different ways. Thank you guys for watching the Super Chunk Super Audio Show. This has been a fun one, and I hope to see you guys soon.